Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time and it's been not a long semester but very unorganized. So I'm making this video to give you guys a brief review of how my second semester went and tips, providing some tips for those who are launching in their second semester. And for the good news, I would like to start by saying that yes, I passed my second semesters and I am very grateful. So it wasn't the hardest one. I still feel like the first semester was the hardest. And some people say the third semester will be as hard as the first semester, but I don't know yet. I know that I'm going into my third semester and I'm very happy. So what accounts in the second semester? So in the second semester, I only got 4 courses and I had patho across lifespan number 1. I had farm number 2. I had principle of anesthesia, and I also had health assessment. So I will start with the health assessment because it's not much different from what we saw in nursing school. It's just that it's not even a lot of content as in nursing school, but it's more applicable to anesthesia, and they highlight the importance of a complete assessment during your pre-op anesthesia. So when you're doing your pre-op assessment, and it's just talk about like if the patient has a history of cardiovascular disease, what should you do, or what should you emphasize during the assessment, what kind of lab tests or other exam can you order in regards to that. So it's very basic. It's not a lot of time studying. I didn't spend more than an hour per chapter, and it's most of the things that they are talking about in health assessment is based on what we all saw in nursing school. So I felt like it was familiar, and I had less time on studying health assessment, and I was focusing my time on other courses. Now the second course that I spent less time, it was the principle of anesthesia. So principle of anesthesia, it was like a little bit of everything, it's like a little bit of farm, a little bit of physiology, a little bit of, I would say, even health assessment, because there were some chapters that were all across. Like you would talk about airways in health assessment. You will also talk about airways in principle of anesthesia, and I liked it because, first of all, the instructor that provided that course, her PowerPoint were very easy to read through, with a lot of pictures, a lot of things that could help you remember. But at the same time, it was very broad. So you really have to pay attention in class to grasp the most important stuff that you really want to emphasize when you are studying about it. So it has farm as well. You will talk about drugs and like just a little bit of everything. And like I said, it was more than an ocean. And I got a little bit frustrated with the finals because our finals are cumulative. So we have to go back and read the stuff from the beginning and making sure that we don't miss anything. So, and the content was so large, it was huge. So, but I did well. Like I did the most I could. So I am not complaining, but I feel like I could have done better if I was more organized. Like that principle of anesthesia, I could have been more organized and don't just focus on the PowerPoint of the instructors. We also had like like other learning support system like Apex or Prodigy. All the content was in there, but I got to find them at the last minute. But I could have started over there and then go back to the PowerPoint. But oh well, we learned. So this is something I would recommend somebody to have a really plan to work on and be very organized, because it's just very broad, and you can also include it in your other material like pharmacology. You can bring both lessons together. Like if you have something that talked about local anesthesia in pharmacology, and once you hit that, you can go back to your principle of anesthesia when they talk about local anesthesia and just bring them all together. So this is what I will recommend to somebody. But it was an experience, and I learned a lot. I feel like that particular course, health principle of anesthesia, it gives you a feeling of anesthesia. It gives you, because it brings everything together, so you start feeling what is anesthesia like. And yeah, it was good and bad, and but mostly good. So I don't think I would have done better than what I did, but yeah, so next time I know better. So now moving to the third course, it was pharmacology 2. Last semester, on the first semester, we did pharmacology, but this one was pharmacology 2, was mainly the drugs that we use in anesthesia daily. So the particularity about this specific course was to understand the anesthesia drug. They work completely different compared to like the regular drug that we administer in ICU. Like I did some videos during this second semester about some kind of pharmacodynamic and pharmacokinetic concerning some of those drug and inhalational gases. So if you haven't watched them yet, I highly recommend that you do so, because I try to break down, and for somebody, not even an anesthesia student, even a nurse student can pretty have a good grasp after watching those videos. So like I was saying, it was very specific to anesthesia and the core principle of how those drugs work, and it was so big of importance because there they teach you how you can maneuver around your drugs, and how the impact on how you titrate your drug and how you can awaken your patient faster or slower, or how you can put your patient to sleep faster or slower, and the implication of all of that. So it was a very, I think it's one of the cornerstone course that I took since I've been in anesthesia school. And they teach you about what is MAC, and it's not something that I can break down in this video, but I'm just trying to picture how my semester went and how those material are counted. And how did I approach pharmacology? So at the beginning, we were not lucky because we had a kind of slippery beginning with the class, because a lot of stuff were going on, and I had to dig a little bit when I finally realized that, okay, this is something I need to be doing on my own. I can't rely on the PowerPoint. I can't wait for my instructor to bring it on the table. So I had to fetch for it. So I started going in the book. And actually, to be honest, sometimes the book is kind of a form of a myth, because they just put everything inside, and sometimes you don't understand. It's a lot of math, it's a lot of things. But for this specific class, the book was clear as a water. So I went in the book and I found that it was so helpful. Pharmacology too, I will recommend everybody to start from the book. The book is so clear. You feel like you are just swallowing the material. It's very understandable. It's simplified. It's breaking down. So, and when I started reading the book, I felt like, okay, this is even better than my PowerPoint. So for every single chapter, I will start with the book. And after going over the book, then I will hit other materials like Apex. And all of these are found in Apex. Like if you go in your Apex and you have pharmacology too, you have most of the content. So I was able to do the reading part and then practice with some question. At the same time, we also have, my school also provide us with Prodigy. I don't know if it's something that all schools provide, but we also had that option and I added to it. And the things that really helped me with Prodigy, it was their flashcard. I'm not a flashcard maker. I never make flashcard because I just feel like the time that I would take to make those flashcards, I can really retain those information. So I went back to Prodigy and I started doing their flashcard. This is after the book and Apex, and it was really, it really built my confidence in pharmacology too, and it really provided me with the knowledge that I needed. Not everything, but I think most of the things. And also pharmacology too has two parts. So there is one part that is going to be strictly about the drug for anesthesia, and there is another part that they're gonna talk about like other drugs that are not really specific to anesthesia, like antibiotics or things like that. So for that part too, I went in the book. And to be honest, I think it's the class that I really spend more time, because I got to a point that I told myself that, because like I said in the beginning of the class was slippery, a lot of things were going on, and I told myself that this is something I'm gonna read every single day, regardless of how many schoolwork I have to do. I am going to tackle this every single day, and I committed it to it. So I will take like 1 or 2 hours in my day. I don't care if I have to study a bunch of stuff, if I'm in the middle of another exam, and I will just dig into it. And I think I learned the most. I put most of my time to this class and I don't regret it. And I will do the same if it was to redo. Now I want to mention that the second semester, because it wasn't that heavy compared to the first semester, and because also I was used to the school system, with the first semester you have to find your path around navigating into the canvas, the school system and everything. So that was already a done deal. But again, the classes were not as heavier. I mean, maybe because on the first semester I wasn't prepared for that. But this second semester, I felt like I had more time. And it's crazy because I didn't even make much video with more time that I had, but I had more time for myself. I really improved my physical activity. I swam a lot. I was basically swimming like 5 days a week. I had a lot of time for outgoing, catching up with friends, and still be able to study and get some good grades, So this was a pretty chill semester. So what I want to tackle next is the last course was patho across lifespan 1, because on the third semester I'm gonna see patho across lifespan 2. So patho across lifespan 1, okay, I would not say it was easier, but it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard because most of the material was building up from what we saw on the first semester in anatomy and physiology. So if you had your anatomy and physiology really packed down, and it was easier to go over. But again, it was a lot of memorization. It was a lot of like, I really don't like when it comes to memorizing, but we saw like we had to go through cardiology. That part, cardiology's part was not a lot of memorization, but concept building from the anatomy and physiology of the heart that we saw in the first semester. And I really enjoyed that. It because it was concept, I didn't have to memorize. Concept, once you understand a concept, it's not going anywhere. No matter how they twist it, you got it. So that first part, cardiology, I was fine. And then after that, we moved to renal. Renal was a lot of memorization. Renal, and you see all those cancer, all those nephritic syndromes, even though we saw that in nursing school, but it's gonna be more structured. What they're gonna talk about is, it's not like very specific to anesthesia, but it has a lot of component to anesthesia. So renal, so what are the impact of those drugs on renal, and how the classification of the disease in renal, very important stuff, but a lot of memorization is not what I like. Now the last part was pulmonary. Yes, we went over the lung stuff like COPD, very basic, which was good. So this is another course that I spent a little bit of time, but not much, because I had this memory from my anatomy and physiology, and I still had my note that I could go back on and read. So it was really it wasn't that bad, to be honest. It wasn't that bad. So to group everything, the very thing that I really spent time on was pharmacology too, and principle of anesthesia, because it was a lot of content. And apart from that, we also had different kind of assignment. We had papers to write. We had like assignment on health assessment, doing like a patient, the whole pre-op interview on a patient, and making sure that we select the disease and go over assessing the patient and pointing out the relevance of those clinical findings, and how do you confirm your diagnosis, what are your differential, nursing school stuff, but more structure. And we also had like clinicals, like going over those mannequins, the induction sequence, and this was part as well of the principle of anesthesia course. So because on the first semester we went on how the vent checking, like when you first come in the morning, how do you make sure your vent is working and everything is good to start your case. So this semester we went over the induction sequence. So what are the drugs you're using for the induction sequence, and how do you proceed with your induction sequence, and what can go wrong, and what do you do? So, and from this I really learned that with anesthesia you really want to have plan A, B, C in the back of your head. It's a discipline that require a fast thinking habit. So you don't want to be with a patient and something go wrong and you're like, okay, you're freezing. No, this is not anesthesia. You really want to be outgoing. Your neurons, your brain, it has to be on fire all the time, because patients are really unpredictable. What you did for patient A might not be working for patient B. So what is the plan A, B, C you have for that patient B? And it's also a discipline that humbles you, because no matter what you get taught in school, I feel like even when you start going out there, you will not know everything. So you still need to ask, learn, and keep on building your confidence as you're going, humbly. So I really learned a lot of things about this semester. It was a great experience. It was frustrating. It was, sometimes I was tired, but I had a lot of time. I had really bunch of time to rest. I rested well. I had a life compared to the first semester. I had time to exercise. I had time to cook all the time. I had time to play with family. I had time to outgoing. I had time to sleep enough. I wasn't stressed. Like on the scale of 1 to 10, my stress level was like the highest was like 7, and this was mostly when the finals, because we were going on campus and we had a lab, we had this assignment to submit within the time. But uh this is one of the good semester I went through. Now I'm happy to launch into my third semester. I really don't know how it's gonna be, but I heard a lot of people talking that your third semester and the fourth semester is really heavy. And because I already looked at the class that I'm gonna be having, and I'm gonna be having 5 classes, but I'm not gonna stress about it. I have a week break off, but right now I'm already I have 5 days left, to be honest. But not a big deal. I'm just gonna take it who's one day at a time, and I will do my best. I will, if I have to switch my time around, if I have to, I will do what I have to go through over this semester. And if I had an advice to give to other CRNAs going into the second semester, is that although it seems really easy, I would take this extra time to learn the most as I can, because I was talking with senior students that were in their fourth semester, and they were saying that there is this test called the C exam, SEE, that we have to pass before starting going to clinicals. And with the third and fourth semester being heavy, they really recommend that if you have extra time on your second semester, use that time to really build on your knowledge, build on the basic, because on the third and fourth semester you might not have time to go back to those basic, and you are very busy trying to pass those classes, and you might not have time to really go back and make the most of your C exam. And this is a requirement before you go into clinical. So I didn't know that early, because I spoke with the seniors on the finals, our second semester finals. So if I have to recommend somebody, an advice is to use the extra time that you have on your second semester, build on your knowledge, and start getting ready for your C exam, because as they were saying, the third and the fourth semester is going to be heavy. But I'm not there yet. I will be there in a few weeks, and I will keep you guys posted. I feel like I make more videos when I'm under pressure. Maybe I will have less time to exercise, but I really plan to commit of doing at least a video a week. And there is another thing that I feel like is hard for me to make those videos, because the purpose is to make sure that everybody understands the things that I'm presenting very basically, and that it should be breaking down to the whole, like if you even a nursing student, you can understand. But sometimes this concept, they are building on top of each other, so I can't just come out here and talk about one concept. I have to go back and bring the whole matter up, and then add now the concept that I want to reveal. And I just feel like, where do I start? So sometimes I have to be careful selecting the topic I want to talk about, because if I want to talk about something that has a lot of to build under, it becomes hard to talk about it in like 30 minutes, So for this semester, I really plan to pick up topics that, like, very little chunks of topic that are easily understandable, easily presentable, and without having to drag everything from the first semester and bring it on the table. Yeah, so I hope this video is gonna help you guys, or I hope you enjoy knowing about my journey in the CRNA school, and I wish you guys all the best, and I will see you pretty soon, and I will keep you posted on my third semester. Thanks.